Hey everyone, I'm here with Marv Almighty. He's a Miami Sharp, legendary sports bettor. Marv, what are some of the sports you cover? Because I've seen some of your bets, and I mean, you literally have bets on everything.
Yeah, so basically, man, I love to bet on like five different categories, man. So my most favorite is college. I love college ball because you got a whole lot of games with a whole lot of divisions, and majority of the odds are hectic, but you're gonna find some easy ones. I say most of them will be in like Division two, three, those kind of sorts, but mostly, yeah, college ball, which is basketball, football. We go into NFL a lot with our bets, mostly, and UFC and boxing. So I love
Okay,
to
so
cover those.
you kind of got it all going.
Yeah.
Uh, One of the things I wanted to look at and start with here is talk about some of the NFL news. I know it's off season right now and not a lot going on, but there have been a couple of recent signings and trades. So the first one I wanted to ask you about was Eagles re-signing their left tackle. I know he's a pretty highly rated left tackle,
Oh
especially
yeah.
as a younger guy, but he's only had a couple years started and he's got really big money. I'm a big fan of building on your offensive and defensive line. Do
hmm
you think they paid too much, or do you think that's just kind of the going right now, and you got to sign your good players?
Well, how the well let me tell you this: how the way the market is going for the alignment, man. You want to go ahead and get them while you can, get ahead of everything. You know what I'm saying? Because if you just not pay the guy, he's gonna move off to someone else, man, in the near future. So if you can pay the guy what you want to pay him, and have him for a couple more years, man, do it,
Yeah, I guess it's
do it.
just really tough as a GM because with the salary cap and free agency and everything, you kind of
Yeah,
have to have that blend of you need to sign guys, but you don't want to overpay for somebody because that impacts who you can get later.
yeah.
A couple other big trades, I guess, that have happened in the last couple of days. We had Diggs go to the Texans. I think they got a second rounder and a couple of day three picks. Uh, Obviously, I don't think that makes Buffalo better today. Do you think
Nah.
it's because they didn't think they could keep him long term? Like, where? How do you see that trade working out? What do you think that was all about?
Well, my honest opinion, you know what I'm thinking right now, based on what they did, I'm thinking they might go after T Higgins. What do you think?
Really?
Yeah,
So,
I
so
have a
what?
funny feeling, man. They got rid of all these players, and they got Curtis. They went ahead and got Curtis, and I'm thinking, man, which he can play wide receiver one, but I'm thinking he's going to be a wide receiver two, and they bring in T Higgins to be that one for a bit. But
Okay. Do
something
you
tells me they're going to go after T Higgins, man, because
do
they're
you
going to
think
need
that
somebody to vet.
do you think that's like a parallel move? Do you think that is a plus move? Do you think they lose there? Do you think that maybe Diggs just didn't want to be there?
Oh yeah, man. Since last offseason, man, it's been rumors from his camp that he just didn't want to be there anymore, man. He basically felt that the team was just going separate ways, and he just wanted to move on from the team. He felt like that little window that they had was closing, so it was off from there, man. So I'm glad. What I will say, the Bills have done great by him by sending him off to a winning franchise where we think is going to be a winning franchise this offseason, because that offseason for Houston is crazy.
Yeah, for
Oh man.
sure. I mean, they're going to be a tough team. I mean, they've already progressed so much. CJ hit the ground running as
Yeah.
good as or probably better than anyone expected. And then, Will Anderson Jr.'s balled out. Now
hmm
they added what some people might have said was the top pass rusher available. they're adding pieces everywhere. You got a wide receiver that, he might be a little bit of a diva, has definitely had production. And I think part of it was, I think Diggs didn't want to be there. If you notice, when they switched up their offensive coordinators, he
Mm-hmm.
went from like 90% of the plays and being like the guy to more of using their offensive line and running the ball and only playing like 60 to 70% of the snaps. And he was clearly not happy with that.
Right.
So 2 other trades I want to hit. One is the Reddick trade. I think that one's kind of self-explanatory. Obviously they didn't get much, but you bring in a pass rusher, you let the pass rusher that you had go and try to get something for him. Even
Mm-hmm.
though I think the guy could be productive, you can only pay so many people. What are your thoughts with Reddick moving on to the Jets and how good that defense can be?
Man, that'll be good. I don't think he wants to play there. I was looking at his last. It's funny. I was looking at the interview that he did once he got there, and man, he seemed so upset. Man, it's like he wanted to stay with the Eagles. So man, but I'm hoping everything's go well with him, man. Because that defense, the D line over there is stacked, man. It's a whole bunch of talent, bro. But
Yeah, there's a lot of players on there. And, like you said, maybe he wants to be there, maybe he doesn't. Of course, he drops the company line of being excited about what that defense can do.
right.
But, as we know as big football fans, that the offensive side of the ball is a pretty scary situation for that team.
Yeah, I just fear everything on the offensive side of the ball, man. They got to get some guys that are going to protect the quarterback.
It doesn't matter how good your defense is.
Yeah.
If your offense is just continuously 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, it's not going to work. And then the last
defense can
one,
only hold for so long, man. Like last season, man, they was on the field for like what 80% of the games.
it was really bad because I like that Jets defense. I mean, I think it could be arguably like one of the best defenses, but the stats don't quite show it because they were just put in bad situation after bad situation. Like you said, no defense is going to be able to hold up to that.
Right, because if you look at the stats, man, you'd be like, huh? But if you watch the game, man, you can see, like, yeah, they was put in bad positions, but man, that if they can get something going with the offense, man, the defense plays so well, man. That's a playoff team. That's a playoff defense.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And then
no doubt about it.
The last trade I wanted to ask you about, and maybe you can kind of help me make this make sense, is with Snead going to Tennessee. I mean, obviously the only thing you can see there is that they just decided that Snead was a guy that they didn't want to pay a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
I think they tagged him initially and then traded him to Tennessee, and they gave him a boatload of money.
Right.
He seems like a key piece that they would need, and you think they'd be in win now with Mahomes and everyone they got. What are your thoughts there on that trade?
My honest opinion, I didn't like it, but I understand they wanted to move off, save some money, probably bring in a guy or two that can help with the offense, and maybe they can, man, like I tell you, man, I've been telling everybody, man, this draft class here is loaded. So I'm thinking they're gonna find that guy in the draft, basically.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a great transition.
That's personally what I think, man, because I think they got what, the third pick. Not a third pick, but a third rounder.
Yeah, I want to say that they got a third rounder and then maybe some later picks.
Okay, yeah. You can get your guy in the third round. It's gonna be some guys left.
Yeah. So I was thinking when I saw that trade that pick 32 for them, they're probably hoping one of those top 5 or 6 cornerbacks slides to them and might be a plug and play, because Kansas City's probably one of the easiest teams to pick. They desperately need a cornerback, a wide receiver, and they could probably use a tackle. So I think best available of those 3, they're just going to pick and plug that gap.
Yeah, a right tackle, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, because the one
So
guy
they
was
have
really
options.
bad. I
Yeah.
forgot his name. Man.
They have like they're really strong with the center and the two guards,
Right.
but they could definitely use help at tackle. Who else? Who do you really like from this draft? Who do you think is a steal? I know there's the one where we're kind of at odds. I think that was me and yours. Are you Caleb Williams guy?
Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah. Caleb's nice. Caleb's nice.
Okay.
But man, guys, I've been looking at guys like Xavier Legette.
Yeah.
Man, that guy, I'm in love with that guy, man. I want him to play for the Dolphins so bad. If we can get him, if not in the first round, please get him in the third, please. I love that guy, man. I've
And
been
just
watching
like
him.
you're pulling for Miami, I'm always pulling
Yeah.
for the Lions. So, I don't think he's going to be there, but I think the perfect fit. I think the guy that isn't really getting as much love as I think maybe he should. I like that defensive tackle out of Texas, man. If you have somebody that can be a game changer inside,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, obviously the Lions just signed Reader out of Cincinnati as a run stuffer. But I mean,
Okay.
you can never have enough good defensive tackles inside.
Hey, that's another team that's been very good in the draft, man. They've been getting all my guys, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a run like Brad Holmes has had over the past like 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's gotten several starters out of all 3 drafts he's done. I mean, he got the obvious ones like, Penei Sewell and Hutchinson, but he's also hit on, starting safeties, linebackers. Laporta looks like one of the best tight ends already. And Amon-Ra St. Brown is one of the best wide receivers in the league. He got him in the 4th round. But let me slide over into some NBA news.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see any of the 5 games that were on today?
Man, let me tell you, I saw the Mavs, and they I don't know, they played horrible in the second half. They covered the spread for me, but man, I don't know if they've been gassed out. I think they had a back-to-back, so that's probably why. But man, it was crazy that second half.
Yeah, I was a little bit chicken. I didn't make quite as much money. I went money line with the Mavericks. I went
Okay.
money line with the 76ers, and I went money line with
Oh man, you
the
did good with the
Denver Nuggets.
76ers.
I know you're a Miami guy.
You did so good. I was like, no, man, that was crazy.
That was crazy because
And they was winning. They was
were
winning,
up,
man. That was a great
and then
game, by the
Miami
way.
came back and probably should have won the game.
Yeah.
Philly started settling for a lot of like deep 2-point shots for whatever reason, but they found a way to steal it at the end.
Yeah, and Miami found a way to beat themselves. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a tough league, and these are some crucial
Yes.
games. I got the Denver Clippers game on in the background.
Okay.
Looks like the Clippers are coming back and making a little game of it. That's still early, but they were talking about this as this could be a Western Conference Finals series. I don't know about that. I think there's too many things on the Clippers I don't trust. James Harden's playoff history, Kawhi's injury history. Who do you like coming out of the West? I feel like there's a lot of strong teams in the West.
Man, you giving me all the tough questions. I'm gonna say
that's what we got you out here for.
I'm gonna say this. People might hate me for it, but the Timberwolves, man, something about the Timberwolves.
Hey, that's definitely not a bad choice. Towns is solid, and then Ant is just he looks like the future. I mean, that guy's athletic. He's confident. He can do everything. I'm kind of boring. I put my money with the chalk. I like Denver. I like Jokic. I
Oh
think
my
he's a tough
goodness.
matchup. I think he plays really smart. He's surrounded by some underrated athletic guys that can play defense and do some of the things that I think people underrate. You know, a lot of the dirty work, picks, rebounds, and I think they play really smart basketball together, kind of like Boston.
Yeah,
As far as the sharing the basketball and nobody really worrying about their numbers.
yeah.
I'm gonna assume you like Boston coming out of the East, or
Oh,
who do you
yeah.
got there?
You already know, man. Boston and Miami, Boston and Miami for the last 5 years. It's been them two guys running it.
Yeah,
Boston
yeah.
and Miami. But,
Miami. I have to admit, is the team I sleep on. That's always the team that winds up giving me at least like one playoff series loss, where I'm like, no, they don't have the guys in this series, and then they find a way. So
nah, what's crazy? Everybody was saying the Bucks because of Dame, but man, I don't think so. I don't think,
so for
and I
anybody
think
that's a
it's because
member
of
on the
personal
channel,
reasons.
you can see on my post on my members only post. I got every
Huh?
bet I make. I got every comment I have. The day that trade happened, my initial reaction is everyone's celebrating like the Bucks won the championship trading for Dame. I said, I don't even know if this is an improvement for the team. You're
uh,
getting rid of a guy who's a lockdown defender, gritty, underrated guy that
right.
fits the mold of the team, to add another shooter that you don't need, that isn't efficient. Giannis is the guy you want to run the offense through.
Yeah.
So, to me, it's kind of like, I don't even know if it's an upgrade. And, they ship some pieces to bring Dame in. But I guess they also have to try to show that they're doing something to make Giannis happy.
Yeah. And then on top of that, you fire a coach that went what 34-13 in the beginning of the season for a guy that's like, I know he has a good reputation, but I didn't like the coaching change with
Yeah,
Doc
I
Rivers,
totally
man.
agree with that. And I feel like it's hard for coaching because they're just the easy fall guys these days where,
Yeah,
if you make a player angry, you already know you're going to be gone.
nah,
So, looking at the college side of it, and I'm going to defer more to you because I don't really bet college basketball like that. It's not as profitable as like me. I just kind of stick to where I make my money.
right,
NFL
right.
and UFC, boxing. I make good money there. I make a little bit of money on the NBA, and I enjoy it. Kind of. I don't really do a whole lot outside of that. What can you tell me on either the men's or women's side of college basketball? Who do you like? Anywhere you want to go with that.
Man, now that's also tough, man. A lot of people is liking NC State because of Burns
Really?
Jr. Man, yeah, Burns Jr. has been going crazy this far, man. No,
And
nobody.
you get good and you get good odds if you're betting with them as well too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. If you're the person that betted, I believe what did they play? They played Duke I believe last week. I can't remember. It's so many games that be on, but yeah, if you made a fortune because I think it was like plus money on the money line. I believe like
Ooh,
185 or two something. If
yeah.
you betted them on the money line, which is great value, and man, they tore it up in the second half.
Okay, well
But
that's a good one for the listeners right there.
yeah,
Uh
it's going to be interesting, man, because they playing Purdue, and Purdue is a very good defensive team, especially their center. He's been playing pretty well and very active around the boards. So that's going to be a really really great one. But and then we got what Alabama and UConn. Man, most dominant team in the league. Most dominant team in the league. You got to go for UConn in this one.
yeah, I mean,
Got-
they seem to be the big favorite,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So let's just jump onto that since you mentioned UConn. Do you where do you think UConn fits in as an all-time team? And I'm just throwing that out there because, they're probably going to be a repeat champion. But
Yeah.
in my personal opinion, I don't think any of the college teams today are kind of like they were back when you had a lot of guys staying sophomore, junior, senior years. And, I didn't really see, the UCLA, Kareem, and Walton teams. But I can tell you right now, just off the eye test, the players, all that, they might be an all-time team, but I don't see them up there with like the UNLV, like in the early 90s, or any of those teams that were really just killing people and loaded rosters built over years. Where do you see UConn?
This particular team as an all-time, I, I honestly want to put them in the 25 if we was
Yeah.
doing like a top 25 ish. But man, this is a very dominant team, man. They play really well together. They execute really well, man. And transition, if you get them on transition, man, this good luck. That's all I say, man. 'Cause very good team.
So
Yeah.
do you think stars make leagues?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
It's crazy because I started kind of going down this rabbit hole. I mean, we all saw, the news recently, with the big matchup with Iowa and LSU, and you got
Mhm.
Reese and you got Caitlin Clark,
Yeah,
and no matter what you think, I mean, they're if you think they're overrated, underrated, whatever, they're definitely big time stars.
yeah.
That broke
They're
like
gonna be big stars.
all the female records because you got two big stars that have been around for a while battling it out. And if you look, even on the men's side, the biggest college game ever, you had the title game in '79 with Magic and Bird, two big stars there.
Hmm.
And then on the NBA side, it's game 6 of the '98 finals. We had 35 some million viewers watching what everyone kind of knew was going to be Jordan's last game.
Yeah.
So I think they did a really good job kind of making a better effort to showcase their stars, kind of like the NBA's been doing for years. Oh. What open bets do you have right now, and what future bets are you looking at in the near future?
So open bets that I have right now, I'm looking. Oh, I gotta pull this up for you. Hold on a second.
Okay. Will you pull that up? I'm going to give you a couple that I marked down, or a couple I know of off the top of my head. Couple
Okay.
things that I liked. I took Atlanta to win the South. I know Tampa Bay won last year and they still have Baker, but I think Atlanta's offense is going to be accelerated. They could already run the ball well. They had pretty good defensive players. Kirk Cousins obviously got overpaid, but I think he's going to be a good fit in there. I mean, especially when you look what he's upgrading from. I
Hmm.
think that's a team that's going to win double digits, and I think that they're going to win in a weak division. And that was at even money when I was looking at. So did some betting there. Uh, I did my annual Kansas City to win the West minus 200 wasn't too terrible. So made a pretty strong wager there. That's been paying off for years. We talked about it. I got Boston to win the East. Um, most recently I've seen it around minus 130, minus 135. But if you jumped on it a little sooner, you could have made a little bit of positive money. And then a couple of bets for the upcoming UFC 300 that we might jump into a minute. But I'm definitely curious to some of the things you have, because I always see you got a lot of good parlays going on and some interesting bets.
So yeah, I got a really good four 14 parlay for everybody, man. All NBA. So
Perfect.
I'm going Miami. I, they lost tonight, but I got them going to Houston, winning that one. It's only a 1 point spread. They should be able to cover that.
Yeah,
They,
and I know Houston had a little run where they won a bunch of games, but they've kind of fallen off from that. And then I think Golden State eliminated them tonight. So
yeah,
I'm totally with you there. I think Miami wins easy. I'm going to jump on that, even if I don't jump on the parlay. I think
yeah.
one
And the good
point.
thing
I'm
about
all over
that,
that.
yeah, the good thing about that, Miami, when they spread is under five, five or lesser, they're 17-4.
That's
So,
impressive. That's one I'm
yeah,
gonna have to
so I'm gonna
jot
take
down to
that.
keep
Yeah, they really can't
keep an
cover
eye
good
on.
spreads. So if the spread is over that, I don't bet them at all. I'll take the other team on the points. But we got that. We got a good game with OKC and Indiana. Indiana should be able to cover that S with their point guard out. Man, I don't know when SGA is coming back. I don't even
Oh
think
yeah.
Champ, I don't even think Champ's going to be playing that game. Hopefully, because I see they have him as questionable for some reason. But man, that's now we on the subject, man. OKC can be a one that can be in the finals, man. They've got a really good, solid young team.
So yeah, on I don't know if it was my last pod or the one before, that was a team I mentioned, and I was like, it's frustrating to me. I don't watch a lot of these cable shows,
Uh huh.
but you see these guys that are on ESPN. They have sub 500 records. Betting against the spread. They say crazy things. I know part of it is to build interest or whatever, but these guys are getting millions of dollars, and if I try to listen to one of these programs, I got to hear about the same teams over and over again. They're talking
Hmm.
about Golden State and they're talking about the Lakers, and I'm like, Oklahoma City is battling to be in first place. And this isn't some new thing. I mean, SGA had a great year last year, and he's improved his efficiency this year.
Yeah.
And, they got other young pieces all around them. I don't know if they're going to come out of the West, but they're definitely one of the top teams in the league. And how often do you hear them mentioned at all?
Man, I want to ask you: are you excited for the USA the play in the Olympics? Because I know I am
For what are we talking about?
for basketball
Oh yeah, for
for the Olympics.
sure. For sure. I mean, it's time to get some payback after a lot of just nothing, for years or underachieving. I think we got a lot of young, talented, hungry players that are going to play hard and represent well for the USA. I
Yeah,
mean, nothing's going to ever replace the dream team. I mean, obviously, all these other countries have jumped leaps and bounds since then.
yeah.
So it's an
I don't think
unfair
we have a.
comparison.
I don't even think we have a team as good as the Redeem team from 2008. Man, that was my
Yeah.
favorite team. Oh man, watching Kobe hit like the toughest shots ever to Wade getting all these easy buckets, these transition points. Oh my goodness,
And
man, that team was very fun to watch.
I think that's one of the
Mm.
strongest things to point to for Kobe fans in general. I know I'm not as high on Kobe as most people,
Uh huh.
but the fact that when you look at that Redeem team, that's just a great example of how his work ethic and leadership changed, because how much else changed between, the teams before that really underperformed, and then how well they did with Kobe out there. I mean, it just goes to show how important it is having, a leader that works hard
Right.
and makes everyone else play better and work harder. And I know I've seen interviews of several other guys from D Wade to whoever, just kind of like, hey, this guy's doing this at this time. Like, maybe we should be doing this, and
Right.
making
Right.
practices competitive, and, not just going through the emotions. Like, every team needs a guy like that. And I don't think there's quite as many of those type of guys today as there have been in the past.
Nah, not at all. The game is so entirely different, man. Since Kobe's been gone.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm going to open the floor to you. I don't know if you have, I know you have your hit squad and you have a couple things you do with betting. Anything you want to shout out or mention before we wrap up? This is my first time using this StreamYard, so I'm going to blame that for any kind of disasters with this gone live. But I definitely appreciate you coming on. I love that you were able to share some information with us. And additional to any final shout outs you have, if there's any kind of general betting advice that you can share with our subscribers, it would be greatly appreciated.
So yeah, man. Especially if you're a beginner, my personal advice is to always do single bets and always bet the games that you watch mostly. So if you watch basketball, stick with basketball. If you watch baseball, stick with baseball. Well, I want to say baseball. Baseball is like the most unpredicted because all like the worst of teams will beat on the best teams at any given moment. But I,
Yeah.
I say I say in any sport like hockey, basketball, man, just bet on that and bet one game at a time. Unless you got, I say this, unless you have a lot of time on your hands like I do, where I can just research all the games and then just set up the parlays, then yeah, just do that. I say do
I,
2 game parlays, 1 to 2 game
And I think
parlays
that's
if
great
you're a beginner.
advice. It's the same thing I'm
Yeah.
telling a lot of our guys is the single bets, keep the parlays to a minimum. And then, on top of that,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have time to look in all these things, use the resources around you. You got
Right,
great
right.
channels like ours, you got your information that you put out. There's a lot of people that are winning, you know, 56, 60, maybe even 65% of their bets um, that are out there, and they're doing it year after year, making good money. So, even if you're not just following everything that they're putting out, they can give confidence to some of the things that you're already liking and believing.
Right, right. And I will say this too, man. It's a lot of betting tools out there you can also use. And one good site that I love to use that I think people should use is a site called Pick Dogs. Pick Dogs has good calculators, all this stuff where you can look at different odds, calculate it, and make
Yeah.
sure everything is right to your
And that's
liking, and
important
just
too. You have to like
yeah,
shop where you're doing stuff because sometimes some of these sites don't even, post what your odds are going into certain things.
right,
And there's a lot of these books that have changed things that have made things that, I might have thought were a good play is
yeah,
not such a good play. And people don't realize how much these odds shift how much more you have to win. I had a conversation with somebody who's a pretty regular better. And he's overall positive, but not a strong better. And we talked about things like teasers. And I said,
yes,
you
teasers are
know,
great.
when you cross through a couple of lines, a couple key numbers, and you have a couple of games you really like, I'll still do some teasers here and there. The problem
Mm,
is, if you go back 10 years, you could get a lot of these teasers at minus 100, minus 110, where today, a lot of these places, if you do a teaser, want to charge you minus 120, minus 125.
yeah,
And he was acting like that's not that big of a deal, but it really does add up over the course of a season or a
yeah.
year or, however you want to measure that metric. But there's a lot of information out there, like you said. Marv, where can people find you and get some of your good best betting information?
So if you want to look for me, guys, you can catch me on Instagram at Almighty Marv One, and also you can always hit me up on Facebook as well at Marvin D Wilson. I'll be there. And also, guys, if you want to, I drop the link for you, feet, and we can do it on Fliff. I also have the Action Network where you can follow me, and I share my picks for you guys all right then and there.
Hey, man, thanks a lot for coming on. Hopefully this stream came out great. If not, I'll definitely try to get you back on at another time and keep making things good. I appreciate all the information you shared with us,
Yes.
and I'll look forward to seeing some of your picks coming out over the next few weeks and months. Thanks a
Most
lot for
definitely,
coming on,
man.
Marv.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Have a good one. That's all I got, folks. Let me know in the comment section what you like, what you want to see next, and we'll try to make it happen.